I just finished the impressions video for the new Star Wars trailer. I wanted to do an over-analysis, so here we go. Just going through here. I'm not entirely sure what that is. I think it's like a helmet. Something like that. It's a weird helmet, though. Also, she's clearly being shot at here by, like... I will assume that's a... Like, I don't know, she might be lightsaber training out in the woods or some shit, and, like, that's a training drone like we had in the first episode. Running, jumping through... This looks like, shot from later in the movie, you know, because I'm pretty sure they find the Death Star debris, because they just find a great big giant chunk of the Death Star, and they're, like, moving through that. I don't know, I guess they're trying to find something or some shit. Finn's weird binoculars, more running, and then we're underneath. I'm not entirely sure what ship this is. It's about the size of a Corvette, maybe. Something like that. And then we have this shot where there's ships flying around up top there, and you can barely make out a laser bolt going across there. They're clearly shooting at people. Something like that. Yeah, they turn all dramatic and look at the camera. It looks like we have X-Wings again, which is an improvement, I guess. Because, you know, Star Wars is known for its space fighters, and Last Jedi might as well not have had any space fighters because they got blown up in the first 15 or so minutes. So, yeah, that was a disaster of planning, wasn't it? You ever notice that Admiral Akbar tells to direct all the shields to the rear after they, they turn the ship around, and then they direct all their shields to the rear, but they direct the shields first, so that allows them to blow up the bridge. So, yeah, they kill Admiral Akbar, which is stupid, because, like, in the expanded universe, he was revered as something of a genius, and I guess in this new trilogy, he's just good at pointing out, I don't know, traps and stuff like that. CR-90 Corvette, I don't know why we have one of those. That's an old ship at this point in the timeline. And then I will assume this is like more Death Star debris because it was sitting in the middle of the ocean, and Kylo Ren shows up like, it's me, Edgelord of the Galaxy. Look at my Jesus Cross lightsaber. God damn it. Now we got this iceberg in space, which is like, well, it's not mirrored on both sides, but I think it's like an ice asteroid that clearly has cities built on it, and like the First Order are coming in and like, oh Lord, we coming! Look at all our TIE fighters! Look at all of us. Yeah. Then we got Game of Thrones throne without all the swords, I guess. Palpatine's doing his narration at this point. We get first look at what I assume is an Imperial 3 class Star Destroyer. Because at this point it would be time for an upgrade. Because what we're doing, what they have in during the whole Civil War trilogy is they have the Imperial 2 class. The Imperial 1 came in around the end of the Clone Wars, just for those of you who don't know. This one looks like it has a more interesting radar tower looking thing. We don't really get a good shot at it here, but here we get this huge shot. And just try to make it so the Millennium Falcon's not in the way. We got, this looks like the Ghost from Rebels, a Nebulon B frigate, or whatever the new upgraded equivalent is. I think somewhere, yeah, back there, and this one right here, and I think a few more around here. I'm pretty sure there's a load of those dumb transports mixed in with this incredibly disorganized and dysfunctional-looking fleet. Because as far as I can tell, first off, they are packed way too close together. I'm sorry, but they are. And there seems to be no semblance of any kind of formation or anything, and an extreme lack of starfighter screening or anything. Like, you got the Hammerhead sitting right here. It looks like a Hammerhead Corvette. Along with this ship and this ship, which are definitely the same class of vessel. I don't really recognize that. I think there's, I think this back here, this big one, is the ship from Rogue One. And then back here we have another one of a similar class, and then another one down here. I don't know if these are Mon Cal cruisers or what, but down here we have, that's clearly a U-Wing from Rogue One, you know, the Rebel transport that everybody actually liked. And then you got the friggin' Falcon come in. He's like, hey, I'm here too. Look at me. Also, that's the wrong dish. So I don't know if they got a new one in between the movies. My theory is that there's going to be like a time skip, so maybe we get a new dish. Maybe we, I don't know, repaint the ship and make it look a little bit better. I'm not really sure. And then we got these guys flying around in the Falcon. We got C-3PO back there, and then Rey and Kylo fighting on top of Thing. Probably definitely a continuation from this scene where it's like Kylo shows up, and then in this bit they're fighting. And then we got looks like Imperial Star Destroyer just took out something. I don't know. In a later shot, they show off this great big artillery cannon on the ventral hull. Probably with that, I'm not entirely sure. You know, just to, like, show off the new arsenal that the Imperial 3 brings to the table. Something like that. Then we got this very ugly thing, which I assume they're using to get to the Death Star debris. I'm still not entirely sure why we need to visit the debris field, but we're going anyway. Probably like a power core or something along those lines. And then, but yeah, as you can see, it's not having a good time of it. It's like the sand skiffs from Last Jedi, which I absolutely hate. The sand skiffs. And then we got C-3PO getting ready to probably kill himself. We got this Christmas, we got these three running through a hallway. We got, it's Finn, Poe, and Chewie gunning down. Those are First Order stormtroopers, because you can tell because they got the kitty face stormtroopers. And we got this shot that's been making the rounds. And then we got BB-8. At first I thought he was like being like hauled away by salvagers in this, but no, he's just smacking that thing and, like, I don't know, throwing up a smoke bomb or something, even though this is clearly a chase scene, so I don't know how that's going to help. We got Lando here hanging out on the Millennium Falcon. I guess it's his now. Then we got probably the most important thing of this entire trailer. We have a Y-Wing, which I did some research, and there's this whole new military doctrine that that Disney Canon introduced after the Empire was defeated, which was to demilitarize. So they definitely came up with this new Y-Wing. The new naval doctrine was supposedly supposed to focus on defense, which is why I don't know why they came up with a bomber, because bombers are purely an attack craft. There's no way a bomber could probably be used for any form of defense unless you're like bombing capital ships that are attacking you or something along those lines. I'm not entirely sure why this is here, but there are specs online, and what I want to know is, where was this for the last two movies? Like, they could have used this for the Battle of Starkiller Base, like, immensely, to, like, bombard ground targets and whatnot, and then we had those big, stupid, ugly, slow, awful bombers during the opening of Last Jedi. And now it just kind of gets contradicted here with the Y-Wings, so I'm not entirely sure what that's about. Also, I mentioned it before, this is that giant cannon that appears on the ventral hull of the new ISD. So I assume this is what caused the explosion in the earlier scene here. Just this giant cannon-looking thing. Like, that has to be a cannon. What else could it be? It's a much better design than the First Order Dreadnought that we had in Last Jedi. I really hate that ship. Also, it looks like these are either gun turrets or some sort of shield generators, which means it's shielded. So that's a really smart move if these are, in fact, shield generators sticking out the bottom here, because these bits on top are clearly shield generators, and we get a bit of a better look at the radar dish array looking thing up the top there. I really like that, by the way. That's a really nice looking design. I feel it really brings that, and I think this other one has the same type of gun. That is a forward hanger, which would just be a fucking awesome design choice on their part. What I am seeing, though, is an extreme lack of ventral weaponry, which I think is why this Y-Wing is able to get as close as it has. Also, it's pulling off some pretty slick maneuvers here, which Y-Wings are not really known for that. Y-Wings are more of a sluggish and slow sort of thing, but they're bulky, which is the whole appeal of the Y-Wing. I absolutely love Y-Wings, and they're not really meant for a starfighter role, but we can clearly see right here, it downs one, and then another TIE dagger, which is currently the working, I think, actually, that might be the title of the new TIE fighter. It's got the triangle-shaped wings, but someone online came up with the design for triangle-shaped panels on a TIE fighter, and they called it the TIE dagger. And then we got them riding the Star Wars equivalent of horses across the hull of a ISD past these giant turbo laser cannons. And then we're here in what looks like the throne room of the destroyed Death Star. So at some point their little fight ends up here. That or it like starts here. Either way, this is we're still on the destroyed Death Star at this point, and Poe's like, "Oh no, wait, don't do it, that something." Then we got this confusing shot. So clearly, at some point, Rey and Kylo are gonna team up again, because Kylo has no idea what he wants to do with his life, so he just flip-flops over from the light and the dark side. And like I'm fully expecting him to flop back over to the dark side after whatever they're doing here ends. That, or he dies shortly after this. Something along those lines. And I don't know exactly what they're breaking here. It just looks like a box, but they're both really pissed off at it. And then we got these three looking all dramatic, like, whoa. And then we get a better shot of some of the giant engines across the hull across the back of the new Imperial Star Destroyers. They look similar and functionally similar to the Imperial 2 class, which is what everybody is familiar with. I really don't think these are Imperial 2s. At this point in the timeline, the Imperial 2 would have been way too old, but he is clearly using a lot of them. Because like that's not clouds, that's the entire fleet, and that's actually a really cool shot right there. What confuses me though is that they're clearly going down the hull, they're clearly riding down the hull of this ship, and I'm assuming that's the bridge back there. So all the ships in the fleet are facing this way, but this ship is facing this way. I don't really know why it's doing that. I'm not entirely sure what ship this is. It might be the Eclipse. Though that's just my working theory. As I recall, the Eclipse had way more guns than just this. Though then again, this is a tiny section of the hull here. Running across it, we also get a better look at the TIE dagger with its triangle wings here. A couple of them flying overhead, like they're They always sound like pigs screaming, you know? I don't know what these are. These little dots here. For all I know, those could be more TIE fighters or like a smaller ship. You know, have more than one class of ship in your fleet, please. Holy shit. Actually, if these are Imperial 2s, then that's going to be quite depressing. But, like, we know for a fact that with the new canon, a significant portion of the Imperial fleet just sort of vanished. Because I don't like the new canon, because they were like the Galactic Civil War ended a year after the Battle of Endor. That is insane, because I think estimates clocked the Imperial fleet at around 50,000 Star Destroyers, and for them to be able to take out that many, as well as dreadnoughts and other ships over the course of 1 year, that's really not believable given the size of the Rebel fleet. It's just madness, and we get some really good shots here, and then Kylo looking all like, whoa, look at me, I am Kylo Ren in the dark place. And then we get everyone says that this is Palpatine, and it probably is, which is depressing. And then we close out with Rey just staring at the camera for some reason. And we got title, Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker. I love overanalyzing things. You guys want me to do more?